fourth quarter numbers for Reliance Industries are out, and my colleague just telling me 13,227 is the net profit number as far as the consolidated number is concerned. Now, if you look at compare that number with the poll, you would see that it is short of expectation. Not hugely short, but we were expecting anywhere closer to a 15,000 crore number. What they've come out is 13,227, so slightly lower than what the street was actually estimating. So it will be interesting to see. Revenue number is almost in line with estimates, 1.49 lakh crore. We were expecting 1.5, so almost in line. But there has been short on the net profit front. Also, if you look at last quarter, we need to adjust it and see. Last time also they had almost 4,800 crore exceptional income. So then the poll of, we have looked at it is a adjusted number. But still, it will be slightly on the lower side. It will be interesting to see how the EBITDA is on this quarter. But clearly, this will kind of, we looked around and spoke to a lot of analysts on the street. Almost everybody was between 13.5 to 15,000 crore is the kind of, the tilt was between 14 to 15,000 crore. But they've come in at 13,227, so slightly on the lower side. But this is only the initial number. We'll have to see how the segments have actually performed. And this time, the O2C segment was supposed to do bulk of heavy lifting. Okay, O2C revenue has come in at around 1 lakh crore. And EBITDA number, okay, this higher actually. We were expecting 89,000 crore of revenue on O2C. So the 1 lakh crore number on O2C is actually higher than what the street was estimating. As I was just telling you, that O2C led quarter is what we would have summed it as well. Okay, more details are coming in. Before my colleague will also join in. Nayantara will also be joining us to help us go through the programming. And retail sales number has come 46,000 crore on the retail front. Remember, retail is where, that's a big jump. Our expectation was closer to 39,000 odd. 46,000 crore, that's a big jump. It will be interesting to see if O2C is done well, retail is done well, then what exactly happened? Perhaps Jio took a bit of a knock. That would have happened. Who knows? Let's get more details coming in. We would also be getting in Abhijit Vora, Probal Sen and Naveen Kulkarni to help us analyze the numbers very shortly. But on the face of it, Naveen Kulkarni is here with us. Naveen, did you manage to get the Jio numbers? Okay, digital services revenue 22,600 crore. What's your take, Naveen? Jio ARPU was supposed to be slightly on the lower side, but margin in absolute terms was supposed to be higher. What's your view?
Still, I am still trying to make sense of the numbers. So the absolute revenue number is still something that I'll have to take note of. The ARPU number is important. So I think more important, we'll like to look at the operating metrics right now. So before making sense of how the numbers have actually panned out. Yeah. So, yeah.
With a number of closer to 140?
It is closer to 140. So if it's roundabout in that range, I think that's a decent number to look at.
Okay, Naveen, I'll give you a minute to look at those numbers. Probal Sen is here. Probal, if you look at the details which are coming in, O2C number, top line as well as EBITDA, both are very good. And even, Jio number, the retail number appears to be very strong as well. Where do you think they would have missed it? Because it's the reported number on a console basis, the net profit is slightly lower than what we were estimating.
To be honest, the numbers are broadly in line with what we were looking at, to be honest. Hello, am I audible?
Okay.
Can I go ahead? Hello?
Go ahead, Probal.
Yeah, I'm saying that what we were looking at, actually the numbers have come in broadly in line. There could have been, I get to look at the detailed numbers. I don't know if there's some tax adjustments that have played a role in the net profit, but broadly speaking, the operating numbers are actually a bit ahead of estimates, and the net profit number actually is slightly, we were actually slightly lower than consensus. So to that extent, there's not too much of a surprise, at least from our estimates, on the net profit line. But you're right that the OTC segment performance and the retail segment performance is extremely encouraging. There was obviously a bit of increase that was expected QOQ, but I think definitely the numbers have still come in probably about 6-7% ahead of what we were looking at. We were at about 87 billion rupees there in terms of EBIT, and the number of has come in at I think 91.8 or something, which is a very, very strong performance.
It is actually indeed. It is a strong performance. Retail has done very well. O2C has done very well. Details of digital will just start coming in also in a minute. 3,600 is the EBITDA as far as retail goes. Our own expectation was 3,400. So EBITDA on retail is higher. EBITDA on OTC is higher. ARPU number and subscriber addition for Jio will just be coming in. That will give us the full picture. But if you for a moment keep the net profit number on a console basis aside, this cannot be seen as any weak number. It's a strong number for sure. Naveen, did you manage to get details of digital business?
I can look at the segment EBIT numbers for digital services. So the digital services EBIT is 5,600 crores, which compared to 5,700 crores the previous quarter, which is Q3 FY21. That looks to be slightly soft on EBITDA, which also includes probably the other income aspect. So EBITDA at 8,945 compared to 8,942, the Q3 is flattish. So I think digital services is flat QOQ. Probably that could be one of the factors why probably the PAT number looks a little soft. But again, there could be a lot of things which could be working for the operating and the profit after tax. So we'll have to get into the details on that aspect. But the digital EBIT looks to be slightly softer, but we'll have to wait for a little bit more in terms of operating metrics.
The Jio platform number or Jio actually is slightly yet to be analyzed, but Nayantara is also here. Nayantara, actually, OTC segment, as we were discussing, after the merger of refining and petchem put together, clubbed into one, which happened in the third quarter, the quarter gone by, has done phenomenally well, and so has retail. So this number definitely will go down in a strong number, but in line with estimates so far.
Okay, so that's the initial analysis that we've been getting, and in fact, Ajay, as you were speaking, the official press release from Reliance Industries is also in with a quote of Mukesh Ambani saying that Jio has highly engaged 426 million customer base and remains committed to enhancing digital experiences not only for existing customers but all for individuals, households and enterprises across the country. With this defining partnership over the last couple of years, Jio will continue to strive towards making India a premier digital society. I think that is of course very well known when it comes to this, but just getting back to the basics and what we can also discuss, and Naveen Kulkarni, if I could come to you. So we were talking about OTC and how it has done. Everybody in the market would of course want to have an update when it comes to OTC, when it comes to the Saudi Aramco deal, because that has continued to be seen as the next big trigger for Reliance Industries and the stock price. Naveen Kulkarni, that was for you.
Sorry, just missed that aspect because I was trying to figure out the Jio numbers. Yes, the of course deal on Saudi Aramco is going to be a very, very critical aspect in terms of how the stock will behave from here on. So I completely agree on that. So updates will be awaited on how what exactly is panning out. The O2C numbers look definitely very, very strong. This was a quarter where the petchem margins were expected to be strong, so I think they have delivered on that front. So positive news can be awaited on this.
Let's go across to Abhijit Bora of Sharekhan. Some details of Jio now coming out. So you've got the customer base at 426 million. You've got gross additions at over 31 million. The FY21 EBITDA for Jio is at 32,539 crores. And the ARPU, the average revenue per user, that stands at 138 rupees. As industry, Reliance goes on to say, as industry transitions to bill and keep regime effective 1st January 2021. Abhijit, if we could get your initial reaction when it comes to Jio. Over time, you've of course started seeing how Jio's contribution is really significant.
Yeah, I think that Jio, like subscriber addition, is largely in line, but ARPU has been lower than expectations. So on operational front, I think that ARPU at 138 is lower when compared to previous quarter and even with the expectations.
Okay. Abhijit, my question to you is this. The stock had gained almost 5% going into the numbers over the last 1 week. With this kind of a performance coming in, what do you see the street will react? What's your own reaction?
See, overall I see these numbers as positive because standalone they have done largely in line with our expectation, and there has been a strong beat in the Jio numbers. Sorry, not retail numbers. So both these are positive signs, and if we see the overall refining margin is also improving now. So going ahead, I see that with O2C performing well, consumers business doing well, I think that these numbers should be pursued positively by the market.
Abhijit, there is a sense that from here on, the chemical cycle is actually likely to keep improving on a sequential basis. What's your own reading and studies say? Is it a possibility? And if that, because I was looking at FY23 composition of profit of Nifty, and Reliance Industries contribution there was coming in the top 5. So if the earning cycle that shows that earning cycle for Reliance from here on is likely to continue. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. If you see the petchem prices, which are largely linked to oil prices, if they continue to remain high, I think that the deltas on the petchem segment will be better, and more importantly, the earnings will be driven by your higher contribution from new revenue stream from digital services and also the ramp up of their retail business rather than O2C business. O2C business will see a gradual recovery in my view.
So, Abhijit, Barvina, taking forward from what Ajay was saying, let me try and phrase it differently. As around the world, you are seeing refining companies, those that are in petchem, go and specialize in specialty chemicals. That seems to be the global trend at the moment. For you, what is the next big trigger when it comes to Reliance Industries when we talk about the OTC and the petchem business and all of that?
See, petchem is expected to do better because overall chemical demand cycle is improving. But we don't see that GRM going, especially the Singapore GRM, going about the mid-cycle level of $3 to $4 at least in the near to medium term. So I think that at best Reliance, at the $3 to $4 of Singapore GRM, $4 to $5 premium at these levels. So these kind of over next 2 years they can make such kind of GRM. But we don't see a upcycle in the refining market.
Naveen, if I could come to you, are you also not seeing a major upcycle that's there? What is the next big trigger? Because that's what the markets would want to know, right? 2020 was about Reliance and all of those big deals that we saw during the pandemic, but that was for Jio. In retail, we had started to see big deals as well. So if I were to look at the OTC chemical business, what's the next big trigger?
First of all, if you look at Reliance Industries, the stock did pretty well for till, let's say, October or so, and November onwards, the stock started cooling off, right? And from that level, from, let's say, highs of closer to 2,300 odd. The stock has been hovering between 1,800 and 2,200. Right, so the stock has corrected, and there has been some bit of de-rating also which has happened. But having said that, the critical aspects is that the overall how the industrial cycle is going to pan out. Right, so if the O2C segment starts doing better, right, then I think there is a play, because the stock has been an underperformer for the last 4 to 5 months. So from that perspective, there is a case. The important aspect that we remain to be seen is that how sustainable these trends are going to be. The current quarter numbers look to be quite encouraging. If the trend continues to be an upcycle, I think there is much scope for the stock to do well just based on the operating performance. As far as the other triggers are concerned, of course, the Aramco deal, I think, is the pretty much one aspect that we could be looking at. And apart from that, the retail business or the digital services business, if they get listed abroad or on foreign bourses, those could be the triggers. Those could be the long-term triggers. But I think from an operating performance perspective, I think the O2C segment is going to be very, very critical. Because the Geo platform business, we already know how it's behaving, how it's panning out. The long-term growth trajectory is understood. Valuations are in place, right? I think the other businesses, I think, are where there should be more value to be created, especially the O2C segment.
Guys, I must also mention over here that if you look at the numbers, you would see that the tax paid this quarter is also slightly lower compared to last year. So lower tax rate also continues to aid the profitability, is the point which I want to raise here. The other point, quick discussion, is that last 1 week, as Dentara was also talking about, this point of deal with Aramco coming back on the table also excited the stock once again. But the new avatar in which the talks are back on the table via a share swap possible deal with Aramco, what do you make? You guys have been tracking this for a long time. Would it make sense for Reliance shareholders to hold a stake in Aramco and give up a stake in O2C? I mean, is it the same will the deal be as attractive as a plain cash for stake deal? Naveen, you go first.
No, it's difficult to make a case on that at this point in time. Pure share swap deal is something that remains to be seen how that will enthuse the investors. Cash in also has its own advantages as well as disadvantages, but we'll have to wait and watch out for what exactly is on offer. Right. Also, important factor will be what could it mean in terms of controlling stake, how the company is going to be run. Right. Those will be the critical aspects that one will have to watch out for, right? Because what does come in because of the overall global efficiencies which, let's say, Aramco could bring in, right? That might actually be very, very interesting. Apart from that, it does bring in a different set of investors also, right? So there are multiple factors. It's difficult to gauge the benefits at this point in time, according to me. But it might be a very, very interesting thing to look at. We have not had something like this in India for as far as I can remember. So that will be something which I think we will be very, very carefully following.
What about you? What's your take? Abhijit, same question to you.
Yeah, basically, all cash deal would have been a preferable deal because that would have been aided their growth plans in terms of the cash availability. And it's very difficult to comment upon like whether cash plus share deal would be a ideal deal because like we don't know deal structure as of now. So, but all cash deal would have been a better deal because they would have got the cash to deploy in their expansion plans.
So, Naveen, what was also very crucial about the Aramco deal, it was, promised by the chairman himself at an annual general meeting, but then of course COVID-19 came, due diligence went for a toss, and we saw what happened with crude oil prices. But for all of you in the market, it was also being seen as an important precursor for maybe, the business being hived off, which they were talking about, would we see Reliance Industries' 3 main businesses being hived off into 3 different divisions, all of that? Is that something all of you in the markets, the analyst community, still following up?
How the business will be structured, right? So, but more important aspect will be once the business is structured, how the holding structure will pan out towards that. I think there are a lot of moving parts here, right? See, one is to look at the sum of the parts and say that the value of the sum of the parts is probably higher than what the market is ascribing to in terms of numbers. But the important aspect will be how the structuring will actually happen, and more importantly, how the businesses will be run after that. I think so. It's like 2 to 3 steps ahead of what we are able to analyze at this point in time in terms of the sum of parts valuation, right? So I think it remains to be seen. If you look at typically how Reliance is valued at, the sum of the parts valuation will definitely offer a much higher value than what it is right now. But the challenge has been that it is difficult to envisage how the structure of the company will evolve post that. And that's why the market is not necessarily ascribing the value that the sum of the parts valuation does entail. So we'll have to wait and watch out how that happens. But as far as the analyst community is concerned, I think still the sum of the parts valuation for the 3 businesses are very much considered, and that's the way that the company is being valued now.
Okay, and Abhijit, if I could now come to you, we've been talking a lot more about OTC, chemicals. We touched upon retail in the initial part. We've got the Jio numbers that have come in. If I could get your views on that, because, that's the new age business where a lot of focus is also at the moment. The idea being, of course, to integrate in some way back end, digital and retail, e-commerce, all of that. The numbers that have come in line with your estimates and what you were factoring in?
Yeah, the retail numbers are quite ahead of our estimates. So we were estimating around close to, almost 2,500 crore, 2,500 crore of EBITDA for retail, but it has come at substantially higher. While Jio is slightly below our estimate due to lower ARPU.
All right, guys, gentlemen, all of you, Abhijit, Prabal, Naveen, thanks so much for joining us, helping us analyze it. So, Nayantara, with that, it's a wrap from Nayantara and myself. We'll go with a mixed set of numbers from Reliance this quarter, but not weak at all. Internals are very strong. Slightly sluggish on the Jio front, but not a weak by any count. With that, it's a wrap on the show. Thanks very much for watching.